Okay, 2.2 part 2, let's call it. Um, this was too long I almost got to the end, but I couldn't quite get to the end. So let me just, and I'm not sure it was followable. So let me just do sort of a brief synopsis, a summary of it, and see if we can make a little bit more sense of it. Okay, we've got our characters. We've got Pierrot is a man, and Columbine is a woman, and these two are characters in a farce. A farce is a play that's funny because it's so silly. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's very off the wall, um, kind of like those movies that they're so stupid they're funny. Like a farce would be like Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and what's his face, the other guy. Um, so farce is this light-hearted, funny play. And then these three, Cothurnus, Thyrsis, and Corydon, are in like a classical Greek tragedy, where the they have deep flaws, and the Mask of Tragedy just sort of oversees the play. And he's not meant to talk at all. He's supposed to sit in the background and make you understand that he's like the specter of death that hangs over everything. So let's talk about the two different plays. The two different plays inside this play are Pierre and Columbine are just having this fun back and forth where they're just sort of friends and they're like, hey, can I kiss you? Hey, can I get you a potato? Hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm an artist now. Well, I'm a singer now. Well, I'm a actor now. Well, I'm. And they're just firing back and forth, having this repartee back and forth real fast. And the what should happen is that they have their little farcical play, and it takes a few minutes, and then they leave the stage, and then in comes the serious play between Cothurnus, Thyrsis, and Corydon. But Cothurnus comes in too early and messes up the stuff. So Pierre and Columbine get frustrated and they leave the stage, and the Cothurnus invites the two shepherds on to have their tragedy play in the middle of the farce play. And then the tragedy play, what basically happens is it's two shepherds, and they've got a flock of sheep, and they're just sitting there and they're bored, and they want to come up with a game. And one of them says, well, let's sing a song. Well, he was like, make up a song about our sheep. Then it says, you know what? No, I got an idea. Let's build a little wall. There's a bunch of rocks around here. Let's build a little wall, and everything on my side is mine. Everything on your side is yours, and then and that's the game. And he's like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but let's give it a shot. In building the wall, they split the flock up in two, and so now Thyrsis and Corydon now start to act really jealous of each other's land. Like, one of them has water on his side, the other one doesn't have any water. So he's like, hey, let me water my sheep. And the other guy says no. And I'll admit, I don't know which one's which. Um, I think Thyrsis has the water and Corydon has the jewels. Yeah. So one of them finds jewels on his side, and he starts thinking himself as a merchant. Corydon finds the jewels, which means Thyrsis has the water. Right. So then, basically, since they've built the wall, they cease to be cooperative partners. And they forget that it's a game. They forget that they can just knock the wall down anytime they want, and they start to be like, well, I'll lose this game if you let me knock down the wall. If I come over to your side or you come over to my side, well then the game is lost, and I'm not going to lose that game. So they end up sort of tearing each other down, um, philosophically, and then finally they're like, okay, let's be friends, and they both act like they're going to be friends, while Thyrsis poisons Corydon, and Corydon strangles Thyrsis. So they kill each other. So they kill each other over this game that they forgot was just a game. Which so the whole thing is like a metaphor for war. For we were all one people at some point, and then we set down a border, and we said this part of the border is Russia, and this part of the border is Germany, and this part of the border is England, and And then we got into World War One, and it's viewed as a big commentary on World War One. Okay, so they die, and then what's his name? The Mask of Death, Cothurnus. Cothurnus puts the stage back as though it's the farce. He puts the table and the chairs back, and Piero and Columbine come out, and they see the dead bodies, and they're like, "Whoa, hey guys, these are dead bodies. We can't have a farce with dead bodies." And Cothurnus says, "Oh, just put the tablecloth over it. No one will notice, and you go back." And then they start. It ends with the same lines it started with. He says, "Pierre, a macaroon. I cannot live without a macaroon." Goes right back to the very first line of the farce. To say that all our happy fun times that we have, our farcical plays and stuff, are just to distract from the horrors of war. Okay, so that's a brief synopsis of the play. Even the brief synopsis took 6 minutes. Good lord. Okay. Exploring language in complex literature was important. Commedia dell'arte is a term that comes up on the test a lot. A type of theater that started in Italy. The type of theater is known for stereotypical characters. So, like, you've got the pretty blonde girl and the stupid actor guy that are Piero and Columbine. Let's see, the characters in Aria da Capo. Piero is an overconfident artist. He recognizes evil, and this results in unhappiness. He thinks he is better than others. Columbine is a young and beautiful woman. She is pretty and charming, but she's not very smart. She thinks that men want women to be pretty and useless, and this is her goal in life. Thyrsis and Corydon are young shepherds. They are also very childlike and don't think before they act. Cothurnus is the stage manager, as well as the Mask of Tragedy. Cothurnus interrupts the play and tells the shepherds to build a wall. Cothurnus is tall and has a deep and demanding voice. No way! I didn't know that he was supposed to have a deep and demanding voice. I just did that. Fun. Play within a play. Okay, well, here's the synopsis. You can read that too if you want. Analysis. Why is the play titled Aria da Capo? That I want to know. In music, an aria da capo is a 3-part song in which the third part repeats the first part. Oh! That's why. Because the third part repeated the first part. This play is structured in 3 parts. Part 1 is the farce, part 2 is the tragedy, part 3 is the farce again. The third part repeats in the first because it involves the same characters. The definition of aria da capo, yeah. The reason behind the play is to say that war is bad, and to make us think about how borders are imagined walls that shouldn't separate us, and we shouldn't separate ourselves into countries like that. We should feel a little more united, a little more like humans are humans, and we should all get along. Let's look at figurative language. Symbolism, irony, satire, hyperbole. Satire is not something I think we went over in that list of... uses humor, irony, or exaggeration to criticize people's choices in the real world. This entire play is satire. So, like, if you and your friends are playing a game, like, say you're like 10 years old, you're back on the playground, you're playing tag, you start to take the game kind of seriously, right? And you get mad at each other. But if somebody gets hurt, the game stops. And you're like, oh, we got to help this person. Somebody go get a teacher. He's crying. Game's over, guys. Thyrsis and Corydon never stopped. They actually killed each other over this imagined game. That's why it's a satire, because it's an exaggeration of how people would really be. This play also satirizes how it was easy to cover up the deaths of the 2 shepherds. It was easy for the stage manager to hide the dead people on the stage and continue with the play. This satirizes the fact that people die in war, but other people don't worry about their deaths. Satire gets the audience to think. This play gets people to think about war and its consequences. Let's see. Exercise, analyzing aria da capo. What's dialogue? Dialogue is when two people are talking to each other. What does it mean to say that a piece of fiction is a political allegory? There you go. Allegory is like an extended metaphor. Means that everything you're seeing stands for something else. Everything is a symbol. Everything represents something more complicated than what it initially looks like. Political allegory means we're specifically talking about the political situation of the time and whether the people stand for political parties or specific world leaders or countries, political thought that dominates things. In terms of allegory, if you've ever read or watched the Chronicles of Narnia, it's all an allegory for the Bible. Aslan is a lion who's basically God. He creates the world, and he redeems people, and he gives people magic powers, and he's all-knowing and all-seeing. And each character in there can stand for some character in the Bible, some sort of angel or devil or human or something from the Bible. A political allegory, again, would specifically be about the politics of the day. How does Millay use repetition in the structure of aria da capo? Oh, actually, we hit on that as we were reading it. I am become this, I am become that. People just sort of change who they are at the blink of an eye, just for the funsies. What might the jewels in the water that the shepherds fight over symbolize? Water represents natural resources. I have the water. You come over here. You're stealing my water. Jewels is wealth. That's money. And the jewels, you can tell for a shepherd, the jewels are completely meaningless. They don't do anything for him. They don't feed the sheep. They don't feed him. They don't give him any water. He's still starving. He's still thirsty. But he thinks he's rich. He thinks himself a merchant. So it changes the way he behaves. So those are representative of two things. Not just water, but all natural resources like food and lumber and iron ore and fish in the sea and all that stuff. Character symbolism. Let's see what's down here. Sorry if I'm moving really fast. This is a lot of information in this particular section, and I feel like I only have 30 minutes to record, and then it's going to cut off. So I'm trying to go through this fairly quickly. This play is a play within a play. The audience learns this quickly when Cothurnus stops the first part of the play with Piero and Columbine. He starts part 2 by bringing on the shepherds. Then, at the end, when he hides the bodies of the shepherds, he tells Piero and Columbine to finish the third part. During the shepherd scene, Cothurnus prompts or gives lines to the shepherds who forgot their lines. 1. Why did Millay have Cothurnus' character give lines to the shepherds? You know that this play is a political allegory and a satire as an anti-war effort. Think about Millay's views on the war. How does the character of a stage manager fit in? Who might the stage manager symbolize? Oh, okay. So these two people are going at war, and they're destined to kill each other because that's the way the play is written. And the stage manager makes sure they do it. He makes sure they set up the wall. You could think of him as a war profiteer. A war profiteer is somebody who makes profit off of two other countries being at war. Somebody who sells weapons, somebody who is a spy, somebody who benefits because two other people are at war. And he's orchestrating the whole thing. One could argue he's more evil than the war itself. Commedia dell'arte, early form of theater that involves stock or stereotypical characters. Dialogue is the discussion, the things people say to each other. Genre, type or category. So this was a play, that's theater, that's a genre. Comedy is a genre. Satire is a genre. Tragedy is a genre. Playwright, person who writes a play. Plot, the list of events, the things that actually happen. Political allegory, Writing that points out flaws in society. That's a simple way to put it. Satire. The use of humor, irony, or exaggeration to point out issues in the world. Best example of irony for me is always the Irish guy who wrote. Oh, what's it called? Hold up. I'm going to find this. Irish satire. Modest Proposal. Yeah. Modest Proposal. Where he said, everyone in Ireland is poor and starving, and the only way to fix that is we should eat the babies of the poor people. And it was satire. He doesn't actually want you to eat the babies. He's just being so over the top exaggerated that you stop and you go, well, we can't eat babies. What should we do to actually fix society? He actually comes up with a couple of suggestions of how to fix things there by the end of it. Okay, 16 minutes is a decent length for a video. I hope you actually watched to the end, and I'll meet you at 2.3.